Well, hello and good evening. It is your favorite medicine woman, Kania Kennedy, and I'm so happy to be here today. This is the Fertility Family Live. Each and every Wednesday, we have one of our health and wellness team members come in to be able to share with those of us on our pathway to parenthood the secrets to having a happy and healthy pregnancy. I am the founder of the Fertility Family and a proud member, kind of like the hair club, right? I am personally on my journey to having a happy, healthy pregnancy. I'm 42 years old. This will be my first baby, and I am on the countdown to baby fabulous. So today's Fertility Family Live, we're going to talk about what it is to do to prepare from more of a checklist format. We're going to start from 1 year out up into your time of conception. I began thinking about having a baby years ago, and so what we're into now is the final countdown to having this manifest in my life, and I'm super excited and excited to share. All right, so countdown to baby fabulous. Before we jump right into the content, we'll do a little bit of housekeeping. Just share a little bit about, again, what we're all about, what the Fertility Family is, and what you can expect. The Fertility Family, we are a support group. It's all about providing natural and affordable solutions for fertility challenges. And a challenge can be anything from the fact that you have been trying to have a baby and have been unsuccessful to you want to have a baby but may not find yourself in a relationship where it's easy to just get pregnant, because regardless it takes a seed, takes a seed, it takes fertilization in a womb. Like, we need certain components we need to have a baby. So challenges can be a little bit of everything. We are here supporting mature and first time mommies and daddies, because there could be some concern around, can I have a happy healthy baby at my age, right? And so inside of that conversation, we want to look at what are the concerns and what are some things that we want to keep in mind as we're on this journey. We look at preconception planning. A lot of times people find themselves pregnant, like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. And that's great. It's a blessing, but it can be a bit of a surprise. And then there's others of us who are a bit more planning, like myself. And so we're planning to be pregnant, but you may not always know what to do, because that's not a conversation we have very often in our culture. We don't always talk about it. We have something called Planned Pregnancy, Parenthood, but a lot of times that's about how not to get pregnant. We don't always talk about, like, what does it look like to intentionally get pregnant? And so that's a lot of what we were talking about in the Fertility Family as well. And then we're providing a resource for people to get their questions answered, specifically from a holistic point of view. There are many people who are interested in holistic health and awareness, holistic health, but they may or may not have trusted advisors. And so we have these live sessions on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you get a chance to get your questions answered. You can submit questions before we get started, and or you can submit your questions live. If you want, you can send them through Messenger, or if you're part of the family and you're watching us live, you can send it that way as well. So whichever way you want, it all works, but you can get your questions answered by people who are knowledgeable, and who are here and have a heart for service, so Fertility Family Live. And then a special shout out to the women like myself who are taking on parenting solo by choice. And that can be a bit nerve-wracking, because it's not something that is always celebrated, but there are many women who may find themselves, like myself, reaching a certain age and having to look at, am I going to do the mommy thing? And if I don't have someone formally that I'm in a relationship with, how am I going to do it? And may want some support, whether that be emotional, getting resources. It could be a lot of different things, but the Fertility Family is for you. So there's a lot of different populations that we can serve, but ultimately it's just about having a happy, healthy pregnancy. And that's what our game is, and that's what I'm committed to. That's the big picture with Fertility Family. If you're interested in joining the Fertility Family, you can always visit www.fertilityfam.com, and that is where the Fertility Family lives. And the information about how to officially join the family, to get into the private group, and to have access to the resources, that's there for you. All right, Fertility Family. Inside the Fertility Family, we're all about education. And so we're super excited because we have a wonderful reference text that we use. It's called The Naturopathic Approach to Fertility by one of our family members, Dr. Jaleesa Hernandez. She's over a 20-year vet in this business. And believe it or not, she has a 100% success rate getting her clients pregnant. Yeah, I said 100%. So that means if you're working with her, the likelihood that you're actually going to have this baby is pretty high. And a lot of the time, she's always shared that the people who come to her are sometimes the ones who, they've tried everything else. A lot of times they are exhausted financially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And then they're like, okay, fine. Well, let's just try this woo-woo thing and see what happens. Some herbs and spices and, all kinds of stuff. And then voila, they end up with a baby. And one of the reasons why I thought about the Fertility Family was, what if you could avoid all of that stress and struggle and you started off naturally? Because I promise what you would spend and the energy you'll put in to do what Dr. Jaleesa and what we're promoting here in the Fertility Family, it's going to be a lot less intense than if you go a much more modern route where you're talking um, into the thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. So the book is great. If you cannot join the Fertility Family Live, or you just aren't sure you want to make that, whatever, you can get this book on Amazon and read it. And in the back of her book, the glossary, she literally outlines everything you need in terms of herbal therapy, what you need to take, the dosages. So it's a very comprehensive book. I personally, I have the book, but I love having the resource of someone I can reach out to. And so if you're in the Fertility Family, if you're in our group, then you have direct access. And we have some special, awesome relationships with our service providers and our practitioners because you're in the family. All right. And then for all of our ladies, particularly who will get started on this journey, as a medicine woman and a holistic health practitioner, I put together the Holistic Feminine Health Starter Kit. So you can have a happy, healthy honey pot, because there's no having a happy, healthy baby if your honey pot isn't happy. And so inside of that kit, you visit adivamedicinewoman.com/feminine health. Look at all the details, but essentially, this creates, it's a wonderful set of products that have wonderful healing herbs, whether it be in the essential oils, which is a special blend made for women, the Female Comfort Herbal Blend. These, again, it's a blend of herbs that are specifically designed to nourish and support the female reproductive system, and of course, our natural prenatal vitamin. So it's a wonderful kit. But my most favorite thing, one of the favorite things in this kit, are our healing herbal pads. You may have been hearing this conversation that's out in the world right now about wanting to use non-toxic feminine care products, and we totally support that. And what I love about these, beyond just being non-toxic, because these are actually healing because they're infused with some of the most wonderful herbs, aloe and rose and lavender and mint and petunia. These are all herbs, again, that are going to nourish and support a reproductive system. And so there's something to be said for taking herbs orally, okay? But inside of herbal medicine, there are times when we want to apply things topically, directly to the tissues. And so what's great about these pads, particularly the panty liners, is that you basically are applying the herbs directly to the vaginal tissues so that you're getting the benefits of them like right there. So it's super awesome. And the panty liners are something I recommend women, if you're having any kind of feminine health challenges, get those panty liners, you wear them daily. And inside of that, you begin to feel the benefits. One of the favorite parts about them is that the mint in there, ooh, it makes you feel really minty fresh, and it's a little exciting, as it were. So it's just a wonderful tool, wonderful tool. So more information at adivamedicinewoman.com/feminine health. And of course, you could always call or text me. My number is 678-381-1885. Again, 678-381-1885. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. All right. I got to take a quick break, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and then we're going to get into our content. So give me 2 seconds. All right, folks, I'm back. Thank you for bearing with me. I left my tea and my throat's a little bit parched, so I wanted to make sure I grabbed that before I got into the content. So a little bit about me. Again, my name is Kania Kennedy. I have been in the health and wellness industry for over 20 years, and it's so hard to believe sometimes. But I started off as a fitness instructor back in 1997. I got out of college. Yeah. And decided I'm being a health and wellness and health and fitness instructor. And I enjoyed it. Now, my background, I studied engineering, you guys, so I'm definitely a nerd. Pretty smart, if I say so myself. But I loved, and I started teaching fitness classes really as a way to get myself into the gym. But even when I was in college, I remember I took a weight training class, and I really just enjoyed the way the human body works and learning how to build it and take care of it. I took yoga in college, fell in love with that. So been a practicing yogini for over 20 years. I'm also a certified yoga instructor in Egyptian style yoga. And then I became a fitness instructor again because I wanted to get myself to the gym and that kind of thing. But then I really I enjoyed I enjoyed being healthy. I grew up in an herbal household. So my mom was an herbalista. And of course, I wouldn't have used that title because that wasn't something we were talking about back in the 80s and 70s, as it were. Um, but within my household, if you got sick, there was a tea for it, like a tea for almost everything that you had. If you had an upset stomach, you were getting ginger tea. If you had cramps, you're going to get peppermint tea or raspberry leaf tea. So teas, of course, are made from herbs. So it was herbal medicine. And then one of the books that we used as our go-to was called Back to Eden. And that's an old school text. But if you talk to anyone who's in this lifestyle, they will be like, yeah, that's one of the originals. And here in the West, of course, this herbal medicine is ancient. It goes well past Back to Eden and anything you're seeing these days. But that's what we used. And so that was our medicine cabinet. It was herbs. And so taking over the counter medications, that was kind of a last resort. So that's been my default. I was raised in it. And then as I got into the workplace, I was working at a community center doing a community work as director of community affairs. And I ran across this massage therapist. And I love massage. I also got exposed to massage therapy in college. And inside of that, I met this massage therapist. And she brought holistic wellness and complementary and alternative medicine to me. So shout out to Versandra Kennebrew because of her, and I was an event planner, so that was part of my skill set. So you know, no engineering for me, much more of a creative, love doing special events and things like that. And I helped her produce her event called Camp Lifesavers. Camp standing for Complementary and Alternative Medicine Practitioners. And I learned so much in producing that event. This went so much deeper into body work and energy work. And that really began my journey because that was in 2003. It's hard to believe it's been 15 years since I have become really immersed in alternative and complementary medicine as practitioner and eventually becoming a practitioner myself. So like that's kind of the journey. So from health and fitness, which is kind of the physical side of this, then I got into kind of the herbal side of it and learning about herbs and things like that, and essential oils and plant-based medicine, energy medicine. And then I became a life coach because I got interested in the mental aspects of this. So what is it, how we think, and how do we reprogram our thoughts, and how does our thoughts impact our life and our health? And then my final journey was into the spiritual realm. I'm also an ordained minister because ultimately these are designed by the divine, these bodies. And so whatever kind of healing work we do, it ultimately only provides the right environment for the divine to do what it does. So a lot of times when we're suffering from sickness and illness, or for example, can't get pregnant, what's happening is there's something going on in our body that it's probably a little bit amiss. And what we need to do is just kind of put things back in place so that then our bodies, these are self-healing machines. But if you have a self-cleaning oven, it doesn't work unless you put it to the right setting. So it has the potential to be self-cleaning, but if you never put it in self-cleaning mode, it doesn't do that. And that's how I urge you to think about your body. It's a self-healing machine. But for us to get the healing, we've got to put it in the right mode. And we do that with our mindset, and we do this with what we're putting in our body. So that's, entitled when we talk about herbal medicine and then doing our mindset work. which we'll get into that inside of this presentation. Because if you're ready to have a baby and a happy and a healthy baby and a happy, healthy pregnancy, yeah, you got to put your body in that mindset, into that mode. All right, well, let's get into this. We'll go ahead and get into the presentation. Countdown to baby fabulous. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited. Yay, the little baby. Wait, let me get the presentation up. There we go. And we're sharing and we're presenting. Okay, great. For those of y'all who are watching on Facebook Live, I'm live in the Fertility Family, but I'm also live on my Facebook page, my Medicine Woman page. So you guys don't get a chance to see my face unless you go into the Fertility Family, which is a tab on the site, but you get to watch it this way. So it all works, right? All right, so Countdown to Baby Fabulous. We're going to look at, where are my notes? There we go. From preconception all the way through conception, you know, what it takes, starting from a year out, getting to 6 months, then 3 months, and then go time. Woo! All right. So from a year out, for anyone who is looking about having a baby, one of the first things I'm going to recommend is that you go and get a physical or wellness exam. You want to get what I call the what's so, because if you don't know what's going on, then how on earth are you going to know if there's a challenge? So you want to go get an examination, get a physical, but make sure you tell your service provider why you're doing it, because there'll probably be some additional tests that they'll want to do around health, particularly if you're a more mature diva. And actually, this is for both men and women. A lot of times we think about fertility as a women's issue, but fellas, one of the things that you should know is that fertility challenges and couples, it's about split between the man and the woman. So it's not like getting pregnant is something we can't do alone. And so it's important that you both, if you're deciding that you want to have a baby, both you and your partner go and get an exam. And make sure, again, you tell the doctor. So with the men, they can be checking for sperm counts and sperm motility and sperm mobility. And for us, we can checking our hormone levels, checking our uterus, just making sure that there's nothing amiss. And that's just the best place to start. Okay. And then you go from there. The next thing we want to do is we want to start tracking our cycle. Yeah. So if you want to get pregnant, it's best to know when's the most likely time that you're going to get pregnant. Our bodies are really awesome. You know, there are plenty of women who practice, for example, the rhythm method as a birth control. That's actually what my mom did. So you want to start tracking your cycle. And so how do we do that? If you're not familiar, so this is actually the pregnancy timeline document that's available for Fertility Family members. So I highly recommend it. This is the app that I happen to use, which is called My Days. So there's a ton of these. You can always look up ovulation or period tracking. This is just the one I happen to use. It's installed on my phone. And I use it to track my cycle. And so we have there's an app for almost everything. I told you guys, I'm a nerd. So I'm like loving the fact that there's an app for this. And so, yeah, you can start tracking your cycle. Inside of our text, Dr. Jaleesa also shares with us what she calls the right way to track our cycle. And so that one's a little, you're going to take some, what I'm looking for. It's going to be a little more proactive, but this is a great one just because if you're tracking your cycle, you can start to see, are you pretty regular? Are there any irregularities? And it's good to do in general. I recommend that women track it. I've been tracking my cycle for years because particularly when you start taking care of your honeypot, if you were to start on the Feminine Health Kit, one of the things that people find is that all the discomfort that goes along with their cycle, it goes away. So we're talking about those cramps, the bloating, the tenderness of the girls, all of that, the acne, everything that we typically associate with our periods and being uncomfortable, it dissipates when you start taking care of your honeypot. So then you're not going to necessarily know when your cycle's coming because you're not having the mood swings. Like your body's not doing all this weird stuff. It's just kind of in the flow. And so having the app is nice so that your cycle doesn't sneak up on you and that instead you know what's coming. The good thing is that if, for example, you're wearing your panty liners daily, even if it does sneak up on you, you're covered. You're not probably going to have an accident. You'll be like, ooh, okay, good thing I have my panty liners on. So just something to keep in mind. And then finally, you want to start transitioning, into that healthy lifestyle. One of the things people don't realize is why, unfortunately, sometimes our babies are born less than happy and healthy, is something we call the toxic burden. And so, particularly as we began to be older and mature parents, our bodies can be loaded down with toxins. And if our bodies are loaded down with toxins, that's in our DNA. What do you think we're passing on to baby? So I'm like committed that baby fabulous be really happy and healthy. So although I've been living a wellness lifestyle, there are a lot of people who aren't, and they don't necessarily know how to do it. So that's again why being the fertility family can be good for you, or working with a wellness coach or someone like myself can be good, because you can start making that transition. And as you make that transition, that's all part of just the preparation for getting healthy. Now, if you have that physical wellness examination, and let's just say you got some disturbing news, like, oh my God, you tell me that I've got PCOS, or if I've got fibroids, or it could be anything. I've got a low sperm count, like anything that you find out as a result of that evaluation. This is also the time to begin a holistic approach to wellness for healing, because let's scroll on down, get me there. These are things that we'll talk about in more detail, but you can do things like steaming, detoxing. Again, as we're transitioning to this chemical-free lifestyle where we're eating foods and we change our cleaning products, we're detoxing from people. So there's all these things that we can be doing to transition to that healthy lifestyle. And what you find 9 times out of 10, you guys, is that if you transition to the healthy lifestyle, then the illness and all those things that are going on in your body, they get handled. I told you the body is a self-healing machine. You just got to put it in the right mode. So when you start transitioning to that healthy lifestyle, and then if you're working with a holistic health and wellness practitioner, they can also be giving you specific things to do and or take to dissipate any of those things that you may have found. So you don't want to not go and get the examination, because sometimes we're afraid of what they might find. We're just finding out what's happening. But if we understand we're designed to be healthy and whole, it's just really, it's an alert, like, oh, this is what's going on, something's out of balance. And so you just need to start transitioning. So you don't ever have to, it's like, don't worry, go to the doctor, find out what's going on, so that then we can make that change. All right, continuing on. You want to start, on your herbs and spices herbs and spices, yes. Because see, sometimes what I really love about herbal medicine is that, you can cook your way very often to good health. It doesn't just be about medicine, making those lifestyle changes. There are different vitamin herbs that you can take for reproductive health. In the timeline, what's great about this document is, I get into it. So for example, we talk about in this is really like our feminine health starter kit. But for example, Nature's Prenatal, this is our female comfort blend. And then this is actually a men's formula. We'll go check that one out, because this is for men too, gentlemen. What's really great about our men's formula, this is supporting the nutritional needs of the male body, particularly the prostate gland. But if I'm looking here, it's got zinc, saw palmetto, pumpkin seeds. So this is, the lycopene, all of these are really good, particularly for my older gentlemen, all right? But for any man who's thinking about, like, oh, we're ready to have a baby, I highly recommend you get into the men's formula and you start taking it, because what many people don't realize is that over the last 20 or 30 years, this is thanks to one of our fertility family members, Dr. Jenkins, and he told me that sperm count, you guys, used to be in the tens of millions, like 10 million was normal. And nowadays we're down to about 3 million. So that gives you an idea about like the health, like what's happening in our system. And that's for like younger, healthy men. So it used to be like in the 70s and before, you're talking about 10 million. And now we're down to like 3 million. And are those the happiest, healthiest little swimmers? So when we start talking about vitamins and herbs, reproductive health and fertility, that's for men and women. So yeah, fellas, your sperm health is important. And so when you decide you want to have a baby, everyone needs to be on baby making lifestyle, like in a baby making lifestyle. All right. Then we want to start looking at things like these herbal steams. I'm a goddess steam practitioner. It's one of the modalities that I got trained in because it's very powerful medicine. Let me close some of these. It's very powerful medicine. And similar to what we just talked about inside of why it's good to apply herbs topically and why I love the herbal pads. This is the same thing with the steams. When you steam, yeah, this is where we want to go. So I'm just taking you out to my website here. This is my at-home goddess steam set. So if you're someone and you want to do this at home, or you're not near a steaming facility or studio, one of our partners here, Sweet Spot Detox Boutique, she does the steams, and I love going there because you get a whole experience. But yeah, you can steam at home, and so you get in the kit, you can get everything you need. But what I'm looking for under our goddess steams, steams and sitz baths, these aren't new, okay? And they really are good to help cleanse and heal reproductive systems. So you want to get started with that, again, about a year out. I'm going to take you guys over to Sweet Spot Atlanta. So this is one of our partners, a Sweet Spot. And so she does the steams in a fabulous studio. Really great information. And so but the steams, guess what? They're not just for ladies. No, fellas, you can get what we call the king steam or the A steam. It's the same concept. Some of those same herbs that you saw in the men's blend, you can get that, you can absorb them into your body by steaming. And so what steaming is so great for, steam rooms and steaming, this is nothing new. This is a practice that has been in holistic wellness for a long time. So if you go into a steam room, they're usually going to have some essential oils and different kinds of herbs, because as you steam, it opens up your pores, which means your body begins to absorb it more. And so it's particularly if you get diagnosed with any kind of reproductive challenges, I highly recommend you take on steaming. And you can also steam at home. I showed you how you can do the vaginal steams in men, and you can do the herbal steams at home. You can also steam your entire body at home. So taking on steams and herbal steams is a powerful thing that you can do to move forward the game of having a happy, healthy pregnancy and a baby. And then you guys, let's talk about, listen, babies are not cheap. So one of the things we talk about inside the fertility family is, if you know this is something that you're planning on doing, then start a savings account around this. So this can be an account saving for the baby, the pregnancy expenses, all of this. And so starting to put money aside for this pregnancy is a wonderful way to get started, because yeah, babies aren't cheap. And a great way to do is to stop spending your $5 bills. This advice came from our resident doula, Akila Shahid, and she was like, she just decided to start. Like, she's like, we get $5 bills, and it doesn't have to be super complex. Anytime you get a $5 bill, pull it out of your wallet, out of your purse, and put it to the side and deposit it into your baby savings account. I've actually just started working on like investing and doing some things in the stock market, and so I'm actually going to start using some of those funds to grow that. But that's a different conversation around financial planning. If you some other things you can start doing is, get a nice little side hustle, for example, just making some adjustments, but starting to put money aside for your baby. All right, you guys, we're still in a year out. One of the things I highly recommend is to start educating yourself about fertility, because there's a lot that you don't know. So one of the things you can do, of course, is to join the fertility family, right? Fertility family, that's one of the whole point. But then there's also our wonderful text, The Naturopathic Approach to Fertility by Dr. Jaleesa. I mentioned it at the onset. It's available right here, on Amazon. She has it in both English and Spanish. Isn't she lovely? I love her. She's just a beautiful person inside and out. And so this book is just really comprehensive, a naturopathic approach to fertility. Most of what I'm talking to you about, she covers in the book. So it's a really easy way to get yourself going. And then there's tons of other books that you can get. You can read blogs. There's a lot of different ways to educate yourself, but you want to begin to educate yourself. You want to make sure you're starting to work out and exercise regularly. Okay, your physical health is important. You want to have your body in the best the best shape it can be so that you have a healthy pregnancy. Again, that's for men and women. One of the important reasons that you want to work out that sometimes people don't realize, it's not necessarily about losing weight or anything. Your lymphatic system, if you're not familiar with your lymphatic system, it runs like alongside your circulatory system. So in many ways, alongside all the veins and arteries in your body, but it functions as the sewage system for your body in many ways. Okay. So your lymph nodes that we often find like here in our neck, and they get swollen sometimes when we're sick because they're working hard to kill off infections. So your lymphatic system, it helps clean and kill off the bad doohickeys. It does not have a natural pump like your heart pumps your circulatory system in your blood. When you breathe in your lungs and the sensation of breathing, that's pumping your respiratory system. Your digestive system, your intestines, they naturally contract, and that moves things along your digestive tract. But your lymphatic system doesn't really have an automatic pump or something that moves it. It requires you to move. So one of the reasons exercise is important, yeah, I mean, doing your cardio is important, it is, and lifting weight to get strong is important. But the act of simply moving your body, doing things like even just walking or taking the stairs or whatever, that helps move the lymphatic system. And it's the same reason we want to start drinking lots of water, because the amount of moisture in water and our hydration levels impact it. I want you to think about, if you have a sewer system and there's no water, what happens with the sewage? It just kind of sits there. Yeah, so you want to make sure you're working out regularly, because that's it's important. So I said, beyond just the fact that working out is good for you, for your heart health, as well as for building muscle. You want to be strong, but it's also really important because of your lymphatic system. And your lymphatic system is what helps keep your body cleaned out, and it helps you detoxify. And working out, of course, makes you sweat. And another way you detoxify is by sweating and getting things out, which another reason the steams are great, because it's inducing perspiration and sweating. And then the last thing, let's talk with your family about your health history, including things like miscarriages and birth defects. There's a lot that we can find out when we talk to our family. But if we never have those conversations, we'll never know. Okay. And the other thing about this, in terms of educating yourself, if you're someone like me and you're thinking about getting a donor sperm or even doing something like co-parenting, this is a good time to educate about like the laws around it and what that will take to happen. So you want to just begin the education. So now we're about 6 months out. All right. Oh my goodness. One of the things that we recommend is to start to figure out things like pregnancy and maternity leave and how that will affect your finances. Because particularly for ladies, there's a chance that you might have a troublesome pregnancy, right? And then you're not able to work and make money the way you used to. So you got to start to think about contingency plans. If I can't go out and work, how will I make money? And so looking at things like passive income, or how can you make some lifestyle changes? Hopefully you're already saving money, right? But then just contingency plans. And so just things to start thinking about, and maybe putting some different things in place. So one of the things I'm putting into place, so yeah, I'm making sure I have some other ways of like making passive income in case I'm not able to be as active as I normally would. Yeah. And so it's all about just planning for the contingencies. And because if you plan, you're probably going to succeed. So this is one of the benefits of choosing pregnancy, as opposed to being like, whoops, I'm pregnant, right? You get a chance to plan for things. You want to start detoxifying intensely. So we've talked about the need to detoxify, um, but really being intentional with the detoxification. I recommend it around starting about 6 months. Dr. Jaleesa recommended at least 3 months out. I got to 6 months out. I'm working with one of our other practitioners, Dr. Jenkins, because he was sharing how back in the day, again, we had a less of a toxic burden. All right. I mentioned that term before, the toxic burden, but what is that? So just think about the world we live in. You guys, you've heard about like the organic movement. We're talking about things like pesticides. We know about air pollution. So the world we live in, just walking around being a normal person, even trying to be a healthy person, it's more toxic than it used to be. So again, when you're wanting to increase the odds that your baby is going to come out healthy without any kind of issues, you want to start with really good base material, your genetic material. So starting some intense detoxification a good 6 months out, we've already transitioned to a healthier lifestyle. So I promise, like if you work with me, I have a 3-month program. It's all about just totally transitioning your lifestyle and educating you on how to maintain that. When you start going to this intense detox, it's going to be really awesome. Okay. There's a couple of things we can use. And again, there's some products that I use, but it can be as simple as this. One of the great products we use is called, it just takes you through this 14, it's like a 14-day cleanse. You can just repeat this about 6 times. And that's going to be 3 months. And you can also do it without any sort of supplements or anything else. And that's when you're working with, so it depends on how you want to approach it. If you don't mind getting up and mixing things up and cooking, like those kind of things, we can take you through a whole detoxification program. But doing it about 6 months prior to conception and going hard for at least 3 months, and then you put yourself on a maintenance strategy. It's highly advised because again, you don't want to conceive of a bunch of junk in your system because your baby's going to inherit that junk. All right. And that's for gentlemen and women. A lot of times our gentlemen aren't thinking about that. But yeah, you are 50% of that genetic material. So if you have a huge toxic burden in your body, yeah, that's a gift that you're giving your baby. And you don't want to give that to your baby, right? And then finally, you want to start creating your pregnancy vision board. Yeah. This is getting into some of the mental and emotional, the mental side of this, but having a pregnancy vision board allows you to begin to make it real for yourself, to look in and you really start to create, what do I want this to be like? What does it represent to me? So you're starting to make it real, having a visual representation of this pregnancy that you want. And it's a lot of fun too. Okay. We're still 6 months out. One of the things we want to start doing at this point is we're going to start building our team. So if you want to use a doula or you want to have a midwife, or if you don't have a OB/GYN, because not all gynecologists are obstetricians, so OB, then you want to start looking at that time and finding like who are the people who are actually going to help you through this pregnancy and ultimately deliver that baby. And if you do go with a conventional doctor, but you also want to have something like a doula, you want to make sure that your doctor knows that and that that's something that they're in support of. And I'm going to take a quick moment to just talk about our doulas, and because we have a resident doula in the Fertility Family, Akila Shahid. She's wonderful. I love her. Her presentations have been so informative over the last few months. But I want to talk about this for women of color and for Black women in particular. We are experiencing very high mortality rates as it relates to pregnancies. And our babies are actually experiencing some very high mortality rates. There's a lot of different reasons behind that. One of the many reasons is that we're going into pregnancy under a lot of stress. As Black women living in this country and in this world, we are under a tremendous amount of stress. Okay. And that impacts our bodies and our babies. And then, you guys, pregnancy is a stressor on the body as well. So when you combine the stress of pregnancy with the stress of like living in this world, it has a huge impact on our survival rates. So one of the reasons it's important for us to do this preparatory work and to begin to get ourselves in our best space as possible is that we don't want to increase those odds. So learning to manage our stress, to mitigate our stress, and learning practices that are going to help us calm down are important. But beyond that, just in general, as women going into the medical system to have babies, believe it or not, it's not always about us. So having a doula is important because she acts as an advocate, right? So I encourage you to go back into the Fertility Family files and videos and watch our very first one from our doula. And we're back in like either February of 2018, because she really goes into detail about what doulas do. Okay, and why it's important to have that advocacy. They talk about birthing justice, and that's for women of all ethnic backgrounds, but particularly for women of color. I lost my sister due to what I totally feel is medical injustice and institutionalized racism inside of the medical industry. And she didn't have an advocate. So doulas act as advocates because you may find yourself during your birth unable to speak on your own behalf. And so your doula helps you come up with a birthing plan. She helps you think about contingencies. So I encourage you, get a doula. Okay. And we talk about like what it looks like to find a doula. And so there's a lot of resources. And again, those are the kind of things we discuss inside the fertility family. All right. The next thing, you want to start researching things like, ooh, that's the wrong image. That's left over from the detox slide, but that's fine. That's funny. The research leave option at your job. Yeah, you want to just kind of find out what's there for you. What are your company's policies? Okay, because um, different companies have different policies. Some don't have any. We want to find this for both parents. If if you have a partner, you want to research that for both parents. Okay. And then, particularly for my self-employed people like myself, you want to research private disability insurance policies. So, a little bit about what that is. Private disability insurance. Sorry, you guys, I don't have. Let me switch this back over to the presentation. That's what I'm looking for. So private disability insurance, it is an insurance plan that it says here provides for the periodic payments of benefit when the disabled insured is unable to work. So ladies, when we decide to get pregnant, there is a possibility that we may become bedbound. And so having disability income, disability income insurance is a good contingency plan. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But if it does, it's really important, to see what the cost for this is, right? And then so that if you find yourself unable to work, you're not also having financial distress because now you're pregnant, you're having increased expenses, but you're unable to work. So this is something to start looking at for your pregnancy plan. Okay. So again, we're about 6 months out. So if we keep this going, hi. Boom. We can start looking at also, if you're conceiving solo like me, this is a good time to begin researching sperm banks and other avenues for donor sperm because you may end up wanting a co-parent. There may be some gentlemen or some men in your life who you think, wow, he might make a good co-parent. Maybe we can't be in a relationship, but you'd be surprised. There are a number of men, particularly men who are reaching a certain age, who are interested in becoming fathers, and they may or may not want to become husbands for whatever the reason. Everyone doesn't want to be married. So if you're open to like a non-conventional type of family, you might want to begin looking at what are some of my options that are out there, and having some conversations. You never know. I actually ended up having a conversation with a potential co-parent because I just started talking to about people what I was doing, and he asked to be considered. And while that didn't work out, what if it had? Then it would be a totally different conversation because I would be going through this journey with a partner, right? As opposed to on my own. So just don't discount it. It doesn't always just be random donor sperm. Think about some of the men in your life. They may be interested in having a family, having a child, right? Extending their legacy. And so then you want to also start looking into legally, how would you set those kind of things up? So there's just tons of things that you can do. But if you never take the time to start researching it, then you don't know what options you have. And if you are going to go with just a straight donor, no problem. Start looking into different types of sperm banks, where they're located, what their pricing is, all those kind of policies. Do they clean the sperm? Because you'd be surprised at the different levels there are. We actually have inside of the Fertility Family a great resource for those of us who are solo parenting and using donor sperm. And so this is a document it's organic and it continues to grow because as I'm doing the research, I'm then sharing the information inside the group. So it's another reason why being part of the Fertility Family formally is really awesome because you don't have to do it all on your own. Right. So you guys, now we're down to 3 months out. So this is about where I am. Oh my gosh. If you're going to get the private disability insurance, this is a time to kind of get started on that and to secure it. If you want to start researching insurance for pregnancy and delivery. What's really good to know is that even with all the weird changes in our insurance laws, maternity coverage is one of the 10 essential health benefits that must be covered by all health insurance plans. And what's really great, and that's one of the things that came out of the, and then pregnancy insurance for pregnancy, labor, delivery, and newborn care became mandatory in 2014. That was one of the benefits of the Affordable Care Act. Okay. And the before that, maternity coverage was not guaranteed, and only about 12% of plans sold in the individual market covered this. And I remember this because I've been self-employed for a long time, and when I first got myself my health insurance, this is before the Affordable Care Act. Maternity wasn't included. I had to it had to be added on for an additional fee. But what's also good to know is that if you don't have insurance for whatever the reason, once you become pregnant, is considered a life change, that then you're eligible to enroll in health insurance. Excuse me, you're eligible to enroll in health insurance once you become pregnant. So if you don't have health insurance and you become pregnant, you can enroll in insurance. So that's one of the things you want to start to research. Well, what's the cost of health insurance? Because now you'll be eligible to get it even if you didn't have any. And then there's also usually inside of our government health systems, even as interesting as they are here in the States, um, there's usually programs and things for women who are pregnant. So WIC, the Women's Infant and Children's Program. And so there's generally some provisions for women who are pregnant as well as young children. So you want to start researching what's so in wherever you live so that you can find out what are some things that are available to you. And so again, at least 3 to 4 months. You don't have to stick to this timeline, but by this time, we definitely recommend that you're looking at that. Because once you become pregnant, you want to know, what there's next to do. So and so this is a great resource. And again, inside of the Fertility Family, we provide links to these kind of documents so that, again, you're not having to do that research on your own and figure it all out on your own. And then you want to begin your pregnancy and conceptions exercises. Yes, there are things that you can be doing and are advised to do to get yourself ready for pregnancy, for conception, for giving birth. Here with our fabulous, this is not the what I want. It's fine. Let me just switch that link. You're seeing the back end, but inside the Fertility Family, there we go. This is a video. This is one of our videos with our resident doula, Akila, and she started teaching us some different things that we can be doing during and before pregnancy to get ourselves ready. So that's an awesome video that I highly recommend that you go check that out. And you want to start doing those things and getting your body ready. And then you want to begin this visualization. Start visualizing yourself pregnant. So we have the vision board already, if you've taken that on, but now you want to really make it personal. Take some time to start visualizing yourself pregnant and happy and just having success. A lot of our success inside of holistic health and wellness comes from our mindset. So if you can envision yourself having a happy, healthy pregnancy, you will have a happy, healthy pregnancy. Your mind is very powerful. And again, working with a coach or someone, a lot of times can help you with that and they can do some guided visualization and some meditation. All right, next thing, we want to start speaking affirmatively about conception and birth. Yes, so not only do we want to spend time visualizing it, we want to speak it. So when you start talking, it's like, oh my God, I'm so happy and excited. This baby is going to be great. I'm going to have an awesome pregnancy. You want to speak this into existence, okay? Because it's for you. If you want to have this baby, you can have this baby, but you've got to speak it. This is even in the face, because if you've been diagnosed with some sort of disease or you've been having fertility challenges, this part is very important, both the visualization and the speaking affirmatively. And if I was working with you as a coach and as a spiritual advisor, we would do some different exercises. We call them denials and affirmations. Those denials are getting rid of that negative thinking and just releasing that stuff and finding out what might be there. Inside of our text, A Naturopathic Approach to Fertility, she actually gives some wonderful exercises about emotional healing and release work. Yes, so again, we're covering everything. So if you get the books and you start taking the advice that's in here and you join the family, you can get your questions answered. We can help you through all of it. But yeah, the affirmative speaking and the visualization are key. And so you don't want to discount it, because it can sometimes make the difference. It can make the difference. All right, what's our next? Our next thing is create your hair plan. I know this sounds funny, all right, but ladies, a lot of women don't know or may not realize that when you are pregnant, it is highly, highly, highly recommended that you do not use any chemicals in your hair. So if you're someone who colors her hair, or if you're someone that has a relaxer, yeah, no, those toxic chemicals. And so some things you can do, for example, is you can use henna if you're coloring your hair. And if you are a chocolate diva, you might want to get braids, you might want to get a weave. There's just a lot of different things that you can do. But yeah, once you're pregnant, remember, we're living a detoxifying lifestyle. So you already would have been advised to have transitioned from any kind of toxic hair products. But if you have been being hard-headed, you want to really think about what's my hair plan, because you definitely do not want to relax your hair while you're pregnant. You do not want to do that. Those are some of the harshest chemicals, and you don't want your baby exposed to that in vitro. All right, and if you're doing artificial insemination, you want to schedule that insemination date, deciding how you want to do this. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I didn't know until talking with some of our experts is that almost any OB/GYN can do artificial insemination. So you don't have to necessarily go, especially if you're doing IUI, which is intrauterine insemination versus IVF in vitro. And so if you don't know the distinctions between those two, that's some research you can do. But you want to schedule that. You want to schedule it. All right, folks, now it's go time. Oh my gosh, we are trying to get pregnant. One of the first things we recommend is you go see the dentist. And this may sound funny, but can think about when you go see the dentist, one of the things they usually do is they x-ray you. You don't want to be x-rayed while you're pregnant. Yes, I know they use that little bib thing, but no. Okay. You do not want to get x-rayed while you're pregnant. So going to the dentist right before you conceive, we usually go to the dentist about twice a year. So, you won't kill you if you don't go to the dentist every 6 months. You could always, go and not get the x-rays. That's just one of the things we recommend. So go see your dentist. All right. You want to get your preconception checkup. So you may have gone to see the doctor about a year ago, and if they said there was nothing wrong, you may not have been back. If you're someone who was diagnosed and you've been having some challenges, you've probably been going to the doctor regularly. But if you're ready to conceive, we do recommend just going to get another preconception checkup, just again, and get the what's so, make sure nothing's changed over this time period. And if you're someone who's been going through this, doing this holistic healing work, you're probably going to be getting some really great news, and you're going to be encouraged. So, preconception checkup. You want to start boosting your immune system. Now if you're not doing this from a holistic point of view, one of the things they'll talk about is getting some vaccines and things like that. One of the things we just want you to know is that there are natural immune boosters. Okay. And so you want to consult with your naturopathic doctor or your holistic health and wellness practitioner for specific things that you might want to take. But you do want to start to boost your immune system right around the time of conception. So there's, again, lots of different ways to do that, whether you're going a conventional or a holistic path. It's totally up to you. That's your choice, right? And then the last thing, honey, get busy. If you have the pleasure of doing this conventionally, yeah, you're tracking your cycle. You should know when you're ovulating because you're using both your ovulation tracker and you're using the methodology that's been prescribed by our Fertility Family member, Dr. Jaleesa, in our text, A Naturopathic Approach to Fertility. So you should know when you are fertile, when you're ovulating, and when's the best time to go for your insemination, and or to get your groove on with your honey and get pregnant. Yay! So again, we've taken it from a year out all the way through conception. If you've been following along and you take on this, you listen. You're going to have. We've looked at this from a financial standpoint, right? We've started saving money, right? We've started making our lifestyle adjustments to make sure that we're going to be prepared for when our baby comes. We've put some contingency things in place, right? Because we have gotten some insurance and different things. And so you're really set up. You've been detoxing. You've been, living a healthy lifestyle. You've been exercising. You have really done the work to prepare yourself, mind, body, spirit, and financially, right, to have a happy, healthy baby. And so now you get to do that. And so we will get into what happens next, right? Because once you're pregnant, now the journey, the fun really begins. Because now, and for me, that's what's kind of scary. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be pregnant. And that is totally uncharted territory for me. But it's exciting at the same time. So we will talk about, pregnancy. So that'll be an upcoming topic. We're also going to talk about post-birth and postpartum. We actually have had our doula, she did a whole presentation on postpartum, like what to expect and how to have a successful postpartum experience, what to do if you end up having the baby blues or postpartum depression. So again, we have support for you through pregnancy and even after birth. You can download your own copy of the Healthy Happy Baby Checklist timeline. It's here on my website, kaniakennedy.com. You can also, just because it's a subset of the site, we can go to fertilityfam.com and you can download it. I make this available to you all. This is a great resource, okay? And so I highly recommend that you take advantage of it. Get a copy of this for yourself, even if you're not in the fertility family. I want people to have a happy, healthy pregnancy, regardless. So go get a copy for yourself. It's available to you. Okay. And so then, yeah, the Fertility Family is here. It's a wonderful resource. We do this weekly education. We have group support, and with us, you have a much greater chance of having this success and having your journey be awesome. Right? So visit us at fertilityfam.com, where joining is pretty simple. There's a join me button. Currently, we're in the launch of the Fertility Family. We started this back in January of this year. So we're going through the launch phase. As we move out of that, these live sessions will not be available to the public. So we want you to take advantage of it now, but just get in the family. It's only $1 to join, and currently it's only $10 a month. So it's really affordable, but it does definitely take something to run the fam. And so if you understand anything about the law of reciprocity, if you understand, you always want to be a contribution to people who are being a contribution to you. And so I definitely love being a blessing. And I also, I'm open to receiving. So the Fertility Family, it's $1 to join. I think it's $10 a month currently. So take advantage of that. What's coming up next week? Inside of the Fertility Family Live, we have the one and only our doula, resident doula, Akila Shahid. She'll be with us for that first week of May. She is super awesome. I love this woman. She's a beautiful spirit. So knowledgeable. Her journey is very personal. She experienced what's called birthing injustice. And that's one of the reasons she decided to become a doula. And her ultimate goal is to become a midwife. She has, again, a wealth of knowledge. And so every time she presents, I learn something awesome. And I love it. So I invite you guys to be with us next week for Doula. Until then, we will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me in the Fertility Family Live. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching a replay, you could have chosen to be anywhere at this time and to do anything with your attention. And so if you gave it to me and to the family, we appreciate you, we acknowledge you, and we welcome you into the family. My name is Kania Kennedy. This has been the Fertility Family Live. Countdown to Baby Fabulous. Until the next time, be well and stay fabulous.